I have a PBX file and I have a simple report with me. So I have a hierarchical classification on the rows and three measures across columns. Now, under the Home tab, when we use Inforiver Matrix, you'll see this item called Conditional Formatting. And by default, a lot of these items are disabled. You have to choose any particular value in a column or a column to activate this. And you have several options here, right? So when you go to Quick Rule, it shows how to put on highlight positive values and negative values. And as I move through these items, you're going to see a quick preview. And the rule is not actually applied. You just get to see a preview. And when I go here, the negative values are highlighted in red. And similarly, under color scales, I can go and hover over something and it's going to give me a preview. And by default, these quick rules apply only at the leaf nodes, not at the parent nodes, because if I were to apply these rules in the leaf nodes along with subtotals and the grand total, you're pretty much going to get a dark green only at the company level and light green or yellow at most of the leaf nodes, right? We don't want that kind of conditional formatting. And of course, if you're using a flat table without any hierarchy, it's going to work perfectly fine for you. But just to show you how the product has been designed, we are going to use hierarchical examples throughout today's session. Similarly, I can use a qualitative range, and I can use a diverging range where there is a neutral color in between and there are extremes on either sides. And then there is a continuous scale that moves from green to red. And there is a continuous scale where there is green and red, but there's also some neutral items in between. After color scales, you also have this classification where I can go and classify the values into A, B, and C. Literally, I can go and segment them, right? Because I know the high performing items are projectors, laptops, and then lamps. And I can also use a longer form of text, very high, low, very low. And in case you want to see the text clearly, all you need to do is go and expand this particular column and then try this once again. And again, still we are only in the preview mode. We have not rolled out anything. Similarly, I can see how it's going to look with icons and also like rating stars. And again, this is just a preview, right? Similarly, I can go to my data bar and see how the preview is going to look like. And if I like it, I can apply the rule. And at the bottom, there is also a create rule part, which is going to go into detail as to how a particular rule is created. And I'll show you how this works as I go through these examples. So let's take the example of a quick rule, right? So we want to use a quick rule. So let's say I have a forecast variance column at the end, and I want to apply positive values are red and green and negative values are red. So I'm just going to go and apply a rule. And as soon as I apply a rule, I'm going to get a settings pane where it automatically opens conditional formatting. And I can see that there is a name for this conditional formatting rule, and it's been applied to the forecast variance field. And we are applying only at the value level. If I need to apply it at the values and totals, basically subtotal, grand total, I can change the selection. I'm not going to do that right now. And then under the format by, there are 4 options. So the kind of formatting this particular quick rule uses is an if condition. Similarly, the color scale that I showed you use the color scale setup. And each one of this has its own types of conditions that you can see below, right? If I'm going to choose a color scale, the setting that you see below is going to completely change. And then we also see something called classification and ranking. We'll walk through it as we go through today's session. So all I need to do right now is I don't want to change anything right here. It's already been applied. So I have 2 options, right? I can close this window or I can go back. So when I go back, you will see that a rule has been already created. And this kind of icon tells me that it's a numbering based rule, mostly a quick format. And I can disable it at any point in time. I can enable it, or I can delete it if I don't want. And if I want to create a copy of this rule and work with it, I can create a second copy of the rule. So let me go and close this. Now you see this number 1 right above this icon. So this tells me that we are using only one rule, under which you can go and see when you go and click on manage rule. So I'm going to now close this and I'm going to add a second conditional format here where I'm going to say I want to see negative values in red. And again, it opens up this window by default, and I can just close it, and I can go back here, and you see this updated to 2, and come back here, and when you click on manage rules, you will see two different rules applied on this column. So, but the nice thing is I didn't have to go and write anything specifically for this quick formatting. All I had to do was go and create them in a couple of clicks.